Hey guys, coming to you from our usher's closet here at Houston Levy. It's really the only quiet place I could find, so I'll probably be jumping around from different rooms and everything throughout these videos, but wanted to start today on operating the Grand MA2 at each campus. So I'm going to break it down campus by campus, starting with Houston Levy, then Germantown Parkway, then Highland. So if you're watching this and you're an operator at Germantown Parkway or Highland, you might want to exit this video here soon and jump on to see those videos because we're going to focus more on Houston Levy. But I do want to explain that even though we do have the same software of Grand MA2, each hardware is different. And here at Houston Levy, we do have the full-size console, which contains 30 faders and a lot of buttons. At Germantown Parkway, we have the ultralight console, and that only has 15 faders and less buttons than the full size. And then at Highland, we have the on PC, which is only 6 faders and less buttons as well, but we also have a laptop out there that's touchscreen, and you can access more faders and buttons that way. So we're going to get started here for Houston Levy operating and getting into the views of each screen and everything. So let me reset here, make sure everything is good to go. And I'm really going to go through this quickly, but we are going to break down each screen on a different video. But I don't want to spend all this time, telling you what each screen does. But I do want to talk to you about the location of each screen, and mainly what's on each screen and what it does. But I'll get into the detailed information here in the videos coming up. But screen 4 is on the far left portion of the console, and don't get intimidated by all this because it is all jumbled up together. So I'm going to break it down as easy as I can for you. But anyway, screen 4 is on the left side of the console. This is where you're mainly going to see your sequence list for the weekend service, and then also for songs. Right here in this row, you'll see that these are the actual faders. So each of these corresponds with the physical fader on the actual console, or executor. You can call it a fader or executor. And this first one is your first executor, and then you have executors 6 through 15, and those are group masters, and those are really for when you run worship manually. For fader 2, you do have the pre-service and message fader, which control only intensities for the message looks and for pre-service and post-service looks. And then fader 3 and 4 are position cues for your moving lights. Again, these are only used for manual worship, is what we call it, when we just kind of run everything or busk everything on the fly. And then you have your Speedmaster right here, and also over here on screen 3. So those do the exact same thing. One is just a fader, and then the other one is just an actual learn key, and a learn key is basically tapping in the tempo to the song. This row right here is really toggle buttons for effects. You can make them into anything, but the way we have it set up is for effects. So your first set right here and second set are for chase effects with your movers and your LEDs. And then this one, or this group right here, is for pan and tilt effects on your movers. And then you have the zoom effects right here. For screen 3, we move on and talk about the layout view. So the layout view will let you see all your groups of different lights and how they're laid out on stage, and it will give you information like dimming information, color information, all that kind of stuff. And during a chase, you can actually see the lights chasing and everything, so it gives you a better visualization of that. And then you have some bit mapping as well. We can talk about that later. On this row, you have more faders, 16 through 30, and really 16 through 20 or 16 through 19, that's really where your songs are going to live. And once you go to these executors, the information will pop up on your screen 4, your far left screen, and you have commands that take you there, so you don't have to worry about how to figure out how to get that onto this screen, so it takes care of it for you. And then you have your all FX lights. FX is just a abbreviation for effects and everything. So this is a fader that comes up for each song, and that controls the intensities of the lights. And then you have your house override. You'll have this on before and after service, once you're turning on the console and turning off the console. That way the lights don't go dark. 23 through 25. This is where your single spots live for your vocals. So sometimes you'll have a left spot right here, a middle spot, and then a right spot. Right now we have it set up for 6 spots, and since there's not a middle, you have a 6 left and a 6 right spot. And then you have your drums, you have your band wash, you have your back wash for your vocals, and your front wash for your vocals. And then you have your main front wash for the stage, which is used for speaking segments in the service. For this row right here, you do have your bottom moving head positions, and they all live right here. It's really just one cue. You just go to a different position, and then, like I said a second ago, you have your Speedmaster button right here that basically learns the tempo. You can tap into tempo. So if you see right here, if I click this, it should work. You see it's changing. Moving on to screen 2, this is on the far right side of the console here at Houston Levy. Really, this is all used for programming. You don't really have to know a ton about this when just operating or doing playback, but we will want to dive into this here soon, and these are just some of the other views that you can do. On every screen, you can go to different views. So let's say you come in and the screens look like this. You're like, this does not look familiar. If you look up here, top right of every screen, it says run, run, and run. Basically, you'll just hit that, and it'll go back to the main look, and that's the easiest way to do that. And then finally, we have our small screen on the lower portion of the console, and you'll probably notice this one right here. It's the color picker. This is mainly for programming, but then you have your X keys right here, which contain position information for your top movers. So the T in front of everything on these buttons stands for top, and going back to these up here, B stands for bottom. And you'll just use these for busking and manual worship and all that. Mainly using these after the message. If Pastor John wants to go into a song, you'll use these faders, you'll use these effects, these go buttons for your positions, and all of these go buttons for positions as well. And then you have your hazers right here, hazer left, and then hazer right, and then some macros in here, which we'll get into here in a little while. So one last thing, we're going to talk about these buttons, but not all of them, really just one, because they're really mainly used for programming. But you do use one button for sure here and there in a service. Let's say if you are in Q110, so I'm going to get there quickly, or here I'll type it in, go to 1110 please. Let's say that they did not want to go to the video right here. Let's say you have let's take out that loop right there. And they decided we're going to move the video to the end of the service for whatever reason, which is rarely going to happen, but I'm just giving this out there for an example. Let's say they want to go to meet and greet instead of video. To easily do that, you'll simply hit go to Q113 and then hit please when you're ready to go. And you'll find that the Q number is right here on the left side. So if you want to go back to Q1110, you'll type in go to Q1110. But we never really backtrack in our services. That shouldn't ever happen. You should always move forward and not backwards, because sometimes that can mess with the lighting and make it look ugly, I guess. And just make sure you just move forward. So anyway, that kind of wraps up this portion of the video. We are going to break down each screen and what they do. And I know this is probably a little crazy looking, but again, I'm going to make it as easy as possible for you, and I'll expand some of these screens once we talk specifically about them. But this is the layout for Houston Levy, and we'll see you in the next video.